right, and now I'm joined by Geoffrey Kaituko, who is the Principal Secretary, State Department of Labor and Skills Development. Welcome to the show, sir. I mean, looking at that particular story, 500 youths are getting jobs from shoe shining across Nairobi. Talk to me about the opportunity for the micro, small and medium-sized sector to sort of be a driver in combating unemployment in this country.
Thank you very much, Noah, for having me. That is a very important question you've asked. Before the MSME and Cooperative State Ministry, State Department was created as a State Department and a ministry. MSMEs for a long time were housed in the Ministry of Labor. Now they have their own state department under cooperatives and MSMEs. Reason being, there is a nexus between labor and MSMEs. When you look at the numbers, out of the 19 million workforce that we have in Kenya, it is estimated to be about that, only 3 million are in the formal sector. 16 million are in the informal sector. And even more, to put it more in context, is that white-collar jobs are no longer available compared to 3-4 generations ago. Today, out of 900,000 people who graduate from colleges and universities every year, only about 150,000 are the ones who get absorbed into the formal sector, leaving 750,000 as unemployed individuals who, if we don't get job placement for them in the private sector or Juakali sector, then they will not be able to eke out a living.
Okay.
So fundamentally, 85% of our population is dependent on the Juakali sector, on the private sector for that matter.
Definitely. I think that's very important, and it brings the how critical it is for us to empower these SMEs.
Absolutely. And
create an enabling environment. I know from labor's standpoint, you look at the market, what the market demands, and essentially you can help people transition to areas that have so much demand. I know, I went to college, and a lot of people, I meet a lot of, somebody has done economics, there's no jobs around economics, but there might be an opportunity in plumbing. In terms of reshaping the way we process work in the country, is it also part of the prerogative that you're trying to do, and what exactly are you doing to change that, transform that landscape?
Absolutely, that's fundamental. Number one is that we in labor have two main goals. One is to connect Kenyans to opportunities, both within and without. And I'll later mention that Kenya is a country that produces skilled labor in surplus. That is where you have very many unemployed people who are highly educated in this country. Number two is that we are also expected as a ministry and State Department, working together with others such as TVETs and education, to ensure that we equip Kenyans with the kind of skills which are required by the modern labor market. And some of those skills are skills that are artisanal skills, which are found in technical and vocational training institutions. Because you realize you may be highly educated, well educated for that matter, but the labor market probably doesn't need the kind of skills that you have, which you possess. So then we have a challenge as a nation of ensuring that you have the opportunity to reskill, that is getting new skills, to upskill if you already had the skill and you want to get additional skills.
Yes.
All right. So one of the biggest hindrances is the mindset which we have, that people don't see blue-collar jobs, Juakali jobs as rewarding. If a child tells their parent that they want to do painting, for example, or welding, or plumbing, a lot of parents will discourage them from pursuing that path because we come from a background of a country that is used to producing more graduates in the areas of humanities and law, compared probably to other countries, for example, in the Far East, which produce more graduates in the fields of engineering and other technical areas.
Okay.
Now, when the SGR was being constructed and when the oil was found in Turkana, we got into some reality check. We didn't have enough welders, just welders in this country. Today, if you want a plumber just to fix something in your plumbing system, do you know how difficult it is to get one in this city, let alone in some rural town?
Yes.
So this is why we're trying, together with our sister department for TVETs, to encourage Kenyans to pursue courses and programs which will empower them with the skills that are required by the labor market so that they can be employable.
Okay.
The other thing about the Juakali sector is that we have very many Kenyans who are either mechanics or welders or masons and have done this work for many years, or that type of work for a long time, but they are not certified. So we've introduced as a government what is called Recognition of Prior Learning, RPL, through NITA, National Industrial Training Authority. In that today, if you've been a mason for a long time, you can go to your local TVET. You don't have to retrain. We just need to assess you and certify that NOAA has the kind of skills that a mason has or a welder has. Then you get the certification.
Definitely.
That way, it will be easier for you should you own some formal employment from some private sector company or some multinational. You'll be able to show your certificates that I'm indeed well qualified. I have been certified by NITA or by the local TVET.
Definitely. And this brings me, we've seen what has been happening globally.
Yes.
You look at more developed economies. Job numbers are one of the critical parameters of how the economy performs. I know KNBS is doing quite incredibly. Is there a way, especially from the Ministry of Labor standpoint, where we could have real-time numbers? Is there a way of tracking? Because you said our majority is highly informal. So sometimes getting hold of these numbers, it becomes a challenge. But using this job numbers as a parameter to measure our economic resilience, is it something that is in the works?
Yes, certainly it is. There are a number of initiatives that we've been able to implement. Number one, we have been able to create the Kenya Labor Market Information System. This is an online platform which is interactive. You can go in there, see the kind of jobs which are available. And then, so with the support of the World Bank. That is one of the things we've done through the KO project. And we want now, there's a new project which is coming, we want to upscale it so that we can get as much information on board as possible. Number two, through the National Employment Authority, we have another system called the National Employment Authority Information Management System that contains information about employers and opportunities. So one can visit their website and see some of the jobs which may be available. But over and above that, we are doing that for the local market and also for the global market. Kenya is a labor export country. We take our labor outside because there is a surplus. There are countries that are in demand of our labor. And that is why we talk of the Gulf countries, and then the US, Canada, Germany, Australia, and also some of the Western Europe countries. Because Kenyans are not only highly educated, some of them are highly skilled, and they do very well when they go outside. So when I joined the Ministry of Labor, I asked the question that you have asked me, that we really have, do we have a system of ascertaining the number of jobs that have been created in the last 1 month by the economy? Because if you look at the U.S. State Department for Labor, every month they release new numbers.
Exactly.
That the economy grew by 100,000 jobs or 300,000 jobs. It is an expensive undertaking because surveys don't come cheap.
Okay.
We have to do a labor market survey for us to be able to get real numbers continually. Okay. And that requires big investment, and that is why we at the KNBS and also our development partners, we are requesting them to help us in terms of coming up with this data.
Definitely.
Yes.
And as we close up briefly,
yes,
accountability is very important, sir. And, you know, the new government has just come in, trying to settle down. Lots of, you know, headwinds, as we've seen in the state of labor in the country. What are your targets? What should we be holding you accountable to in the next quarter?
Thank you very much, Noah. You know, I'll tell you that in as much as there are all these challenges, we as policymakers are there to solve problems. We are there to sort issues that have been persistent. Now, for the next quarter, you're talking of the next few months. Let me say that one is that we are stabilizing. When I joined the Ministry of Labor, Saudi Arabia was a hot potato. Every week there was a story of a Kenyan where they died or something had happened. And we visited that country. And thankfully, our counterparts were able to engage with us. And now the incidences have gone down because we have bilateral meetings every 2 weeks with our Saudi counterparts. So in the next couple of months, I look forward to Labor Day. It's coming up on the 1st of May. It's going to be a big occasion. There will be major pronouncements, which the head of state, together with my cabinet secretary, the Honorable Florence Bore, will be making. Then there are a number of policies we have taken to cabinet. I'm looking forward to some of those policies being approved by cabinet. Then we'll process a bill or two to accompany the policies. And the whole purpose is to really fill in the gap which has been existing in the field of labor. Whether it is labor migration or our own internal market here in Kenya.
Definitely.
Then in the medium term, we want to review the labor laws which were enacted in 2007. There are 5 of them. A lot has happened since 2007. And we have written to Kenya law reform, to ILO, and we want now to relook at all those laws so that we can capture the issues of this time. Some of these things that are being discussed today cannot be adequately addressed. They cannot be addressed by the current legal regime. So fundamentally, we'll be bringing amendments, proposed amendments to Parliament on the labor laws.
All right.
Yes.
Very important, and we'll be holding you accountable here. Those bills that you've said, hopefully that will be formulated based on the policies that you'll forward. We'll look at them, do a deep dive, hopefully to have you sometime later on. And with the pronouncements also that's coming up on Labor Day, I hope, as we say, wafanyikazi watafurahia. But I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, sir. Jeffrey Kaituko, who is the Principal Secretary, State Department of Labor and Skills Development. We appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So there you have it. Matters to do with the latest from the state of labor in the country. And this particular moment, being told we have to go back to Parliament, look at this issue of internal